drinking water. The new Simpsons movie is out, and it came in #1, you might know, over the big box office weekend. If you're a fan, you know why. If not, you wonder why. Well, this may well shed some light on the Simpsons phenomenon for you. Dr. Paul Halpern, a professor of physics and mathematics, has written a book on how the Simpsons is a treasure trove of scientific ideas. It's titled, What's Science Ever Done for Us? What the Simpsons Can Teach Us About Physics, Robots, Life, and, yes, the universe.
The Simpsons is a great way to teach people about science in a very informal way.
Now, a lot of people may say to you, hey, you know, I love The Simpsons, but it's a cartoon, you know?
Yes.
How can you learn all of these things from a cartoon?
Well, it's a very smart cartoon, and the title quote of my book comes from a statement from Mo Sislak, who's the bartender on the show. And at one point, there's a riot, and he made the statement, "What's science ever done for us?" And then the second later, he took he used a voice-activated television set and answered his own question. It's a very clever series, and they try to satirize society as much as they can. And since science and the environment are such an important part of society, they try to parody it as much as they can. And it helps that the writers, many of them have scientific backgrounds.
And that's the interesting thing about who is behind the writing of The Simpsons. You have all these Harvard-educated and Princeton-educated people who are writing for The Simpsons, so they can't help but utilize their knowledge and inject it into the show every week, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. The executive producer of the show, Al Jean, who's also the head writer, has a degree from Harvard in mathematics. Some of the other writers have degrees from Berkeley and Princeton, and they put all that knowledge into the show in a humorous way.
So you say in the book, there's a serious story behind all the laughter. There are many serious stories and messages behind the laughter, right?
That's right. A number of the episodes feature robots, they feature aliens, and you can read up on some of the science behind these episodes and learn something from watching the show.
How can I get my wife to love me again? It's me.
Well, for example, Stephen Jay Gould, who was an expert in paleontology and one of the strongest advocates for the theory of evolution, was on the show in an episode called Lisa the Skeptic, and he analyzed a skeleton that Lisa found of an angel, and to try to come up with conclusions about whether or not this is something for real. I went to see the movie a couple days ago and loved it. It's a brilliant movie, and it has to do with the environment, which is another issue that society must deal with.
Well, something that Homer is responsible for, right?
Yes. Well, there's a buildup of pollution, and then Homer contributes the last straw to it.
Right.
I won't say anything more.
I'm not going to say either. I know, but certainly leave it to Homer to make for a very interesting and riveting plot.
That's right. And it shows that we need to take precautionary measures before it's too late in terms of environmental pollution.
Did I save the day?
Actually, you doomed us all.
Well, Halpern believes there is more to come for The Simpsons, more stones to unturned in the areas of astronomy, robots, and physics. He even expects movie sequels, and there may well be something to that, but you have to see the movie to know exactly what I'm talking about. I am not going to give it away if you have any questions, but do not ask me about the ending to the Simpsons movie. I want to hear from you. You can reach me at cn8.tv or leave me a message at 1-877-862-9374.
I'd like to thank you and Dr. Halpern for giving me an excuse to continue watching The Simpsons.
So you a big fan?
I love it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a regular watcher, but when I watch it, I enjoy it, and I didn't realize all this educational opportunity was rubbing off on me.
Oh, you don't appreciate the knowledge and the intelligence that goes behind the writing of the show, because it's so obvious there that, well, you know what, I shouldn't say it's so obvious. If you don't watch that often, maybe you don't pick up on that. But there's so much behind what they're talking about in terms of life, and they satirize everything.
Right.
And the people, as we mentioned, who are behind this show have so much education,
intelligent
so
people,
much
but they're
knowledge.
Smart enough to simplify things that we get it, so we don't have to overthink it.
Right.
Because if
Keep
you have
it
to
simple.
overthink it, yeah, then it becomes an exercise in futility,
That's
and you don't
right.
want to work too hard when you're watching a cartoon.
Yeah, but it's a fun book, I have to tell you. It really is, especially if you do love The Simpsons. You'll get a kick out of this because you'll be able to identify and remember some things about some of the segments and the shows that you've seen over the years. It's amazing how long it's gone on, and there really seems to be no end to The Simpsons,
Well, why
at least
end
at this
it?
point.
It's a good thing going. Keep the ball rolling.
That's right. I agree.
I really got something out of the credit